It's time to take a look at my week in trucking for week number 12 of 2023. Now, before we get to that, I want to say I've made a few changes in the slides, and I include one now that shows what we get paid per hour. Now, I know we don't get paid the same way per hour as regular people in a 9-to-5 job does, but I've been asked that question a lot. What would you get paid? So this is my take on it, and you'll see it near the end. Remember, I put bookmarks at the bottom. If you want to skip any part, feel free. Let's talk about it. Coming up.
I'd picked this load up on a Saturday, and it needed a cargo realignment. There's nobody available to do a cargo realignment, and it could have delayed me by hours, but some ingenuity got the problem solved. Work-life balance is important. So far, there have been 18 days in the month of March. I've worked 14 of those days, 3 days of home time, 1 day off on the road. Year to date, there have been 77 days. I've worked 55 of those days. I've had 15 days of home time, and I was off on the road 7 days. This week, I was off on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, still on home time. Rolled out on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Managed to get in 2,519 dispatched miles, 2,577 logged miles, 2,579 odometer miles. My average net speed was 62 miles an hour. Time to look at my unedited pay statement for period 12 of 2023. This is the period ending March 18th, 2023. The first run was a continuation of the load I took home with me, so it went from Shadydale, Georgia to Laredo, Texas. It paid $810 for 1,215 miles, or 66.7 cents per mile. The second run of the week went from Laredo, Texas to Greencastle, Indiana. It paid $876 for 1,303 miles, or 67.2 cents per mile. Moving on to the summary box, I had $7 in empty miles, $1,625 in loaded miles, $54 in stop pay. This was a pretty easy week, wasn't it? $1,686 total pay, 2,519 miles, or 66.9 cents per mile. I was asked, are we paid well, or what are we paid per hour? That's a tough question to answer. In the trucking industry, there's no such thing as overtime, but in the regular work world, there is. So I use that when doing my calculations. I was paid $1,686 this week. I worked 43.9 hours. That would have been 40 hours of regular, 3.9 of overtime at a regular job. It would work out to $36.85 per hour when you figure overtime at time and a half. Year to date, we're 12 weeks into the year. I've made $25,081. My total miles traveled was 32,453. That gives an average weekly gross of $2,090 and an average weekly miles of 2,704 miles. Multiply that by 52, you come out with $108,680, 140,608 miles, or 77.3 cents per mile.
All right, on my final thoughts, I want to remind everybody that I only worked 4 days this week, was home for the first 3 days, and still came out with a decent check. This is something you can do in this career field. There are a lot of people who talk down about trucking, and they act as if truck drivers aren't paid enough. They want to act as if we are out here as indentured servants. We're really not. It's a decent paying career. If you're thinking about getting into the career of truck driving, and you're going to look at it and you're going to say, well, how much am I paid for every hour I'm in the truck? Well, they don't pay you for every hour you're in your house. They don't pay you for commuting to and from work in most cases. We live in our trucks, and is that time supposed to count as paid because you're asleep or you're playing a video game or making YouTube videos or cooking dinner? Should that time be counted as paid? There's a lot of different ways to run your clock. There are a lot of drivers who like to run recaps, and they're in the truck stops 15 hours a day because they run an average of 9 hours a day to get that perfect, never have to take a day off routine. I don't do that. If I'm going to be out on the road, I'm going to run hard. I'm going to take my 10-hour break so I can get that 34-hour reset in and run hard again. And when I take my day off, I pull that bicycle down and I try to go places. Just because you're out here doesn't mean you're chained to the truck, doesn't mean you have to stay in the truck and can't go anywhere. You can go places. You can do things on that time. That's why I don't count that as time worked. I count the time worked as the time that you were on duty or the time that you were on driveline. And if I'm in the back of the truck supervising the unloading, that counts as on-duty time. If I'm in the sleeper berth because they're unloading the truck, I'm probably taking a nap, eating dinner, making a YouTube video, working on a college course or something. I like to spend my time that I'm not driving doing something that I feel is productive for me. There are a lot of naysayers, but how many careers can you make six figures your second year in the industry? And I did it. I showed you all the check stubs during the 6-figure trucker series. That was my second year in this industry. So if you're thinking about getting into trucking, it's a good industry, but you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to drive the truck. You can't expect that you're just going to get handed a great living. Because if you don't drive very many miles, if you're spending a lot of time in the truck stop, playing video games all the time, and you don't have time to do any work, you're not going to get paid great. Until next time, make sure you're enjoying every day at work.